Okay. Thanks everyone for joining. Uh, we will start just right now. So today's webinar, we are bringing Microsoft Azure and from Microsoft, Thet will be conducting this webinar. For the topic is migrating workloads to Microsoft Azure. So those of you who don't know me, my name is Nashid, and we represent cloud service and the software development company called Cloud Creative, and we provide cloud services, ERP on cloud, as well as analytics and some trainings, including Power BIs and others. And we born with the cloud, so we sleep, we eat, everything on the cloud. So today, it's going to be an exciting sessions. So I'm handovering to Thet to start the webinar. Thet, welcome on board, and also the other people. So you can start over with your introductions and start the webinar. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Nashir. Hi, everyone. I hope you guys safe and healthy, and also during this situation, please stay home. Today, I'm going to covering about migration workload to Microsoft Azure. So I'm using a Zoom. So some people asking me why we are not using Teams. Okay. I'm using a Zoom because of the convenience of our organizer. It's a cloud creative. So today I'm not here to talk about Zoom vs Teams. So today I'm going to covering about the migration workload to the Microsoft Azure. Right. So today, before I start talking about presentation, due to the different types of audience, I will not be going into very deep technical details. So I will be covering more on like a level 200 presentation. So it will be covering like how you should migrate to the Microsoft Azure, how you should plan, how you should strategize, and what type of migration approach you can take before you move into the cloud. Right, so I also sharing the best practice before you are moving to the cloud, so you may take the reference and you can plan accordingly. So I hope this session will be helpful to you. Okay, so let me start with the presentation. So today I will be covering these are the what I will cover today. So what I will cover is an overview of cloud migration journey, and what is a cloud adoption framework, and what are the network design decision, compute design decision, storage design decision, data design decision, and what are the best practice guidance, and also what type of migration model you can take. Right. So before I start about the migration, these are the 7 critical steps you need to consider to migrate to the cloud. Right. So firstly, what you have to do is you have to identify the workload. So what kind of workload you want to move, you have to identify, you need to plan. And the second step is you need to perform an assessment. Right. So assessment is to give you the better understanding of like what kind of CPU run, what kind of application, what kind of dependency you need before you do migration. And once you have an assessment, you can step B and validate the migration plan, which workload you should go first, which workload you should do it later. It's based on the business impact, also and the technical impacts. So after this, you can start moving your data. Even after moving the data to the cloud, you still haven't finished yet. You still need to optimize. Sometimes you may move to the cloud. This cloud using maybe over allocate or maybe under allocate. So you need to make sure performance and also security and governance, you need to optimize the migration workload. Then after that, you need to secure the migrate application and infrastructure in terms of network security threat, all those things. Right. Some people don't have move into the cloud is where we automatically secure by default. It's not right actually. So once you move to the cloud, so there are shared security model. So like if you are moving to the infrastructure as a service, and add to the like physical server, virtual machine, add to the virtual machine level, Microsoft taking care. The rest your customer has to taking care. So the last part is that you need to plan modernized workload. Right? So moving to the cloud, why many people move into the cloud, right? So why they have to move to the cloud? The advantages of cloud is like they have a lot of resource, also as well as a lot of innovation. Right, so you can integrate your application with the AI, IoT, machine learning, all those things. So you need to modernize your workload to integrate with AI and IoT, make your product better to be your competitor. So this is the way you can start migration journey. So normally, let me hide this one. So normally, what kind of workload customer are trying to migrate? Hello, so normally, what kind of workload customer are trying to migrate? So most these are the common workload customer are trying to migrate. The first workload will be virtual machine and database and other information data and the application. So these are the common workload customer are trying to migrate to the cloud. So once you migrate to the cloud, there is a Microsoft Cloud Adoption Framework. So you can go to the aka.ms/CAF. So you can go there and take a look what is a cloud adoption framework. So cloud adoption framework is a collection of documentation, technical guidance, best practice, and what kind of tools you can leverage to start your cloud adoption journey. So you can go to this link and you can study more. So in the cloud adoption framework, there are 6 different steps. So firstly, what you have to do is you have to define your strategy, right? So what type of strategy? So what you need to, why you have to move to the cloud. So normally CTO or CIO, they need to convince their management like CEO, CFO, why they should move to the cloud. Like they need to define a business justification. After moving to the cloud, what will be the expected outcome? So you have to define a strategy. After that, you have to plan. So you have to plan accordingly. So you need to have what kind of projects you will be coming. It need to align with the business outcome. So you have to plan accordingly. Once you plan right, so the next step you have to do is you need to start ready. So moving to the cloud is not just only the migration. So you also need to prepare for the people, culture, and environment changes. So cloud is like totally different to the on-premise infrastructure. So people also need to change how they manage, how they work, how they control, and the culture, and also like environment, like SLE also will be different. Like cloud, there's an unlimited resource, right? So you need to give this resource to your developer, IT professional, data analytics, data engineer. So there's an unlimited resource. So they were creating the unlimited resource. How you can control them? Not like on-premise. On-premise in the data center, nobody allowed to go in, so nobody have access. But in the cloud, you can allow everyone to have access to empower the and do the innovation and create it. But you need to control them. So all those things you need to ready first. You need to step first, and then after that you can step migration to the cloud. So when you move to the cloud, the adoption have a 2 different parts. The one is the migration. The second one is innovation. I will talk about this later. So after moving to the cloud, you have to start operation, right? So so once you move to the cloud, you need to make the governance and policy. So every company have a different type of policy and compliance, right? So maybe some company like storage must be managed by the storage engineer. Network must be managed by the network engineer. So how you do this governance policy applying to the resource? You have to prepare for that, and also like process as well. Last time, whenever you want to create a resource on premise data center, you just go to the IT. But for the cloud, it will be the different, right? So you have to prepare for the business process as well. So just now I already explained about sales step. So these are them a little bit more details about the strategy. And strategy, you need to understand the motivation. What is the business outcome, business justification? What will be the first project you trying to move to the cloud? So every customer have a different kind of application. Maybe enterprise customer may have like 100 or maybe 200 or maybe 1,000 types of application. They cannot move this all application at the same time. So they need to plan which one to go first, right? So the next one is the plan, right? So you need to rationalize. Rationalize is like I will explain to you later. And also you have to prepare skill readiness and cloud readiness adoption plan. And after that, ready, so that you have to prepare for the readiness guide, first landing zone, blueprint, best practice validation. I will explain all these things later. Uh, so the next one is like you have to adopt. Adopt just now as I said, right? So we have 2 types of approach: migrate or innovate. Migrate is something like you just move virtual machine from the on-premise to the cloud. It's called lift and shift. So another call is like rehost, right? So rehosting the VM to the cloud, right? Innovate is like you need to modernize your application. Like your application may be sitting in on premise with a virtual machine. You modernize into like a platform as a service, like Azure Web App, Azure SQL, or you modernize into like container-based application like microservice application, or maybe you may modernize into like serverless and event driver application. So this one is we call is like a refactor, re-architect, and then rebate. Re-architect and rebate. So this one I will talk more details later. So once you move to the cloud, you have to govern and you have to manage, right? So common workload examples, right? So I think there's some question here, right? Hello, everyone can hear me? Nashir, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, perfect, perfect. Yes.
Yep.
Okay, okay. Okay, so there will be the Q&A session at the end. So maybe you can type question in the chat box as well. I will answer all the question at the end of the slide. Okay, let me continue. So these are the common workload example. So most of the customer they try to migrate. So every customer have a line of business application, customer facing application. Hold on, my phone. Customer facing application and third party application like maybe SAP or maybe the other type of custom application and data analytics platform and globally distributed solution, highly scalable solution. So different type of models customer are trying to migrate to the cloud. So these are the common technologies. So customer are trying to migrate. You can consider moving Microsoft workload like Windows and SQL Server. And you can also consider moving like open source like Linux and open source databases. And you can also move third-party application like SAP on Azure. You can also move in your analytics platform and adopt the data warehouse and the data lake on the cloud as well. So these are the common technology the customer are trying to migrate. So let me go back to the cloud adoption. So let me start with the plan. So customer are trying to migrate based on their main objectives, right? So what are the migration trigger? What are the motivation? Why do you want to migrate to the cloud? So some customer, they want to increase business agile. So they want to go to the market quicker than the other competitor. So let's say for example, like Uber and Grab, right? So they are competing each other, right? So they want to go to the market faster, who will reach to the market where we win. Like you see the Grab, Uber cannot be to the Grab in the Southeast Asia market because Grab enter into the markets very fast, earlier than Uber. So some customer they want to optimize operation. So they have a normal traditional process in the on-premise. They want to optimize the operation, and also they want to reduce complexity of the existing data center and the existing on-premise server farm. And some customer they want to save costs, right? So they want to save costs in the cloud. So this type of the migration trigger, this one is a so-called migration trigger. You can start with the like rehosting your application into the cloud. So another trigger will be like innovation trigger. So some customer they want to improve experience and engagement. So like they have a some application serving their customer. They want to integrate with the AI to provide better customer service. So they want to transform their product and also like they can also integrate with like AI and or IoT, all those things. And also they want to disrupt the markets. All those things you can take the innovation trigger. So both trigger, right? So you need to have prepare for the technical capabilities. Also, they want to scale on demand. So they don't want to invest in very early stage, cash for the usage in advance. Like let's say for example, if you have an application like retail application, maybe 1 million user will be using in 1 year. So you have a business requirement. So in the on-premise, you have to invest the hardware resource to cover 1 million users. But that in the real time, right, nobody is using in earlier state. Like maybe first treatment, maybe only 10,000 user. Right? So in that case, you don't need too much hardware resources. With the cloud, you can start with small and you can scale on demand. So these are the transformation part, right? So there's a infrastructure oriented driver, right? Some customer they have a data center contract expiry, they need the urgent capacity, and they quickly integrate acquisition. They have a software and hardware refresh, software and support like Windows Server 2008 is end of life. So those are the driver. they would start to migrate to thinking of rehost. Rehost is like lift and shift, migrate to the cloud, VM, move into the cloud. So after they move like rehosting all the application, let's say for example, they have a 10 application already rehost as a VM in the cloud. After that, they identify that maybe 3 application is need to innovate, right? They want to innovate this application. They want to meet the compliance like GDPR. They want to protect security, and you can start thinking about refactor, re-architect, and rebuild. So this is a first transformation part 1. So most of the customer are doing. Another transformation part 2 is like they identify the workload before they start moving to the cloud. So they define the workload, maybe 3 app need to 3 app need to innovate, maybe 5 app need to migrate. So in this case, this 5 app go parallelly, go to rehost. This another 3 app, they go to the innovate approach. So this is the way most of the customer. There's only 2 ways to move to the cloud. So firstly, what you have to do is you have to prepare the migration plan. What are the list of participating customer? If you move in this app to the cloud, who will be impacted? What kind of customer will be impacted? Right, you have to pay the list of participating customer. You also need to pay the list of workload and access. In within this app, what kind of workloads are included? Is it database? Is it virtual machine? Is it any dependency? Maybe what kind of programming language they are using? So what is the authentication? For all those things, you have to provide a list. You write down all the migration plan template and proceed for the assessment. So here we have a document. So let me show you the document here. So this document you can also download at the aka.ms/caf. So this is the template you can prepare before step migration. So this is the template. So you can put your organization name, what is the strategy, who is the stakeholder, what is the business outcome, what is the driver, like is it migration or is it innovation, what is the list of success metric, what kind of capabilities you need to train your team or you need any partner to involve. So all those things you have to prepare the this one. So once you want this one, which will be the first adoption project. So which one is the first adoption project? What is the project name? Who will be the stakeholder? What business unit will be impact? And you can also start preparing cloud strategy team. Right, who will be involved in this project as well. So all those templates you can download in the aka.ms/caf. I can also share my slide to Nashid later. You can get from here as well. So the next one I want to talk about is access the digital estate. Right. So every customer have a digital estate, right? They have their own digital asset. You need to do the analysis. So there are different kind of approach you can make analysis. First one is a workload driven approach. Second one is an access driven approach. That one is an incremental approach. So let me explain to you what are all these. So let me go to the aka.ms/caf. This is the cloud adoption framework for Azure. So you come here, there's a so-called digital estate. So digital estate planning, there are 3 different type of approach. So workload driven approach. Workload driven approach, what is this? Workload driven approach is like top-down assessment. So it's no need to go into how many CPU, how many RAM, how much is the storage, what kind of network they use. It's no need to do this analysis. This approach is to do the what is the business impact, right? So you need to is it low impact, medium impact, or high impact. So this app need to be any compliance, data sovereignty, and what is the security risk requirement, and also it's also evaluate what is the authentication, what is the data structure, what kind of latency requirement, what are the dependency, and also this approach also need to think about what is the SLA of this application, what are the maintenance window monitoring, all those things, and also you can prepare like operation efficiency, TCO, right? What will be the TCO I move into the cloud? What is the return on investment? If I move to the cloud, what is my return? So all those financial metrics also need to prepare. So based on this analysis, you have an idea which application need to go first to the cloud. So another approach is asset driven. This one is like go very details into like CPU, RAM usage, all those things. So normally it's made the assessment on memory, number of CPU, what are the operating system, what are the storage speed, what are the data drive, what are the NIC, what are the load balancing, clustering, all those things. So to do the assessment, you need to use the tools, right? So you can use like Microsoft also have a tools called Azure Migrate, and we also have a partner tools like Cloud Unified Cloud as well. So you can have a tools to make the assessment of existing infrastructure. So Azure Migrate is totally free, so you can also search in the internet, and you can start log into the Azure portal and start using Azure Migrate as well. So it will automate. It will be, you can download the so-called SAM type of configuration you need to install in the on-premise. It can make the assessment. It will provide you the better idea of how much will be cost in the cloud. And another approach is an incremental approach. So we strongly suggest this approach. So this is a like hybrid approach, like you mix between workload driven and an access driven approach. So most of the customer, right, so customer or partner, right, I want to move to the cloud. How much will be the cost? This is a common question everyone asking. Right, so to have an initial cost analysis, to start with the access driven approach, right? To just making the assessment of existing infrastructure, and it will give you the initial cost, how much will be the cost in the cloud. So once you have an initial cost, you can have a migration planning. This one will be using the workload driven approach. So this workload driven approach, you need to interview the business and the technical stakeholder. You need to interview all the stakeholder. So what is the business risk? If I move this one, a lot of users will be impacted. Maybe my business will be impacted. So all those making assessment, you have a better idea which application to go first. After that, you can have a release planning. Like after you plan the migration, you need to found the cloud strategy team, and then this cloud strategy will decide what will be the next 5 to 10 workload to move to the cloud. So this is a release planning and also execution analysis, right? Right. So once we are moving to the cloud, how many engineers need to be involved? Isn't we should go for rehost or we should go for modernize, or what kind of approach we should use? All those things you have to prepare. This is so-called incremental approach. So this is the one we are recommending for the every customer migration. So, and also you need to align the cost model, right? So you need to list down what are the applications. So maybe every customer, different customer have a different type of application. So maybe, for example, one customer maybe 100 application, maybe what kind of VM will be included, maybe 1,000 VM or maybe 2,000 VM. Well, what are the data sources? Right? Maybe they have a different type of data sources. So what are the dependency? What kind of dependency? So maybe one app may be dependent on another app. We don't know yet. So you need to list down what are the dependency. So to do this, you no need to do manually. You can use it as well migrate. This tool will automatically provide you the insight of all those application, VM, data source, and dependency. And for the TCO calculation, you just Google it, Azure Total Cost Ownership TCO calculator. So you can start using TCO calculator and Azure pricing calculator, and you can have an estimated pricing of the cloud. And after you move into the cloud, you can use Azure Cost Management to see what is your billing as well. This kind of tools you can leverage to have a cost model of your migration workloads to the cloud. Okay, so now let me talk about the rationalization. So actually there are 5 different type of rationalization. The first one is a rehost. So rehost is like moving the VM to the cloud. So maybe you have an on-premise, maybe 100 VM, moving to the cloud, another 100 VM. So this kind of approach is like a rehost. So normally rehost want to use. So if you want to quickly move application from on-premise to the cloud, like if you have a data center contract is going to expire. So when the application needed, you don't want to have you don't need very evolving capabilities in the business priority, and you don't want to change the code. You don't have a source code. You cannot modernize the application. You can move to the cloud. You want to leverage Azure IaaS scalability. Specific application database requirement only can map by the Azure VM. So this kind of workload you can start moving to the cloud as a lift and shift scenario. So on the right side, there's a sample illustration. So like on-premise, you have a Microsoft workload like .NET application, database, maybe SQL Server. So firstly, what you have to do is you have to use the Azure Migrate to make the assessment. And after that, you can start migrate. So for this one, you just move to the Azure IES VM. For the database, you can move to the Azure SQL database managed instance. So this the way you can start migrate your workload from on-prem to the cloud as a pre-host. For the open source, like Java, Node.js, Linux, same thing, you can just use Azure Migrate to make the assessment. For the database, like Postgres, MySQL, used and this Linux application move to the VM. All those database, you use the Azure Database Migration Service, move to the Azure Database for the Postgres or MySQL platform as a service. It is, you don't need to do any changes on the code, you just live and ship. Very easy way, very faster way of migration to the cloud. So another way of migration is a refactor. So refactor is like uh, you are moving your application into the platform as a service, PAS, right? So want to use this one, you want to leverage existing code. You don't need to, you don't want to change so much code on your application development, right? So code portability is very important. So application can be easily repackaged, right? So if you have a on-premise application, it can be easily repackaged, pushed into the Azure. So application need to be more scalable. So you want to scale based on the demand, and you want to deploy faster, and you want to adopt DevOps, right? So you want to have a CI/CD DevOps technology, then you can go for that approach. So in the example here, beside you have a web application and a database. So web application will go to the Azure App Service. So Azure App Service, a platform as a service, you don't need to worry about operating system. You just use like a DevOps CI/CD from on-prem to the cloud, or maybe you can also use any other third-party tools to migrate as well. So SQL Server, go to Azure SQL database. So this is the way you can go for the refactor application. You can also integrate this Azure as Service with like GitHub, or maybe like Azure DevOps, all those things to have a CI/CD as well. So your code will be portable as well. So another strategy will be the re-architect. So re-architect is like you need to change your code, right? So some customer, they want to modernize their application. They want to integrate with AI in future. They want to integrate with IoT in future. So all those things, they want to modernize their code. So application need major revision then, and need to improve the capabilities, and you can start using this approach. You can leverage existing application investment, and you don't want to manage the VM in the cloud. You want to have a scalability. You have a multiple development team on the wall, and also you want to integrate DevOps, right? So in this approach, you can use re-architect. Like let's say you have a monolithic application in the on-premise, it's go into the microservice. You put into the Azure Container Service. It's based on Kubernetes technology. So so let me give you example. So I have a one application, maybe camera application. I take in the picture, it's a one module. And then after that, I store into the maybe storage, another module. And after that, I do the cropping, another module. So last time is put everything into the one box. It's so-called monolithic. In the microservice, it's different. So you separate all those modules into the separate container. So you have a separate scalability on a different module. And also this module can be developed by a different team as well. So you can also do scaling. You can also integrate with the AI also. So let's say you want to integrate cropping with the AI. You don't need to integrate entire application. So this kind of approach, you can go for the re-architect approach. So the last one will be like rebuilding the application. So rebuilding the application is rebuilding everything from the scratch, right? So it's based on a cloud native approach. So you you cannot leverage existing application. You want to modernize everything. You want to integrate with serverless, AI, IoT, and you want to have a cloud native application integrated with a DevOps. So this approach, you can rebuild application. In the rebuild application, is using the so-called Azure function. It's like a serverless, and logic app is like the workflow, the business workflow, integrate based on the event-driven application. But even the database can be like the maybe relational database or NoSQL database like Cosmos DB. So you can transform your application into a totally cloud native approach. This is the rebuilding the application. That one need a lot of investment because you have to rebuild your own application. So these are the four type of cloud migration strategy. So rehost, the driver will be like reducing the KPS, free a data center, you need a quick ROI, then you can go for rehost. The technology you will use here is IaaS. For the refactor, it's a faster, shorter update, code portability, cloud efficiency. So it's use a refactor approach. It's go to like container or platform as a service. So re-architect and rebuild this two is like you want to scale and agile, you want to adopt new technology, you want to mix the technology. So like maybe just now the camera application, cropping application, you want to write with the Node.js, maybe camera taking the picture application, you want to build with the Java, you want to mix the technology stack, then you can go for this approach. And you want to accelerate the innovation, you want to reduce the operation cost, and you can go for like a re-architect or rebuild. So the next one I want to talk about is ready. So after you make the plan, right, you have to ready your team as well. So there are 6 different steps you have to prepare. The first one is the organization and resource. So once you move to the cloud, right? So what kind of resource you have to have a control and policy? Like if you are building on-premise data center, like you are building on-premise data center, you have to plan, right? So which work will be located in which area? What are the network? What kind of network patching will be required? Uh, and what are the VLAN, right? You can put server anyhow, anywhere, but later you have difficult to manage, right? So it's same thing on the cloud as well. So you have to put this app on a which container group, which resource group. You want to have a what kind of different network, what kind of network design, what are the VLAN you need to plan first. And also the next one you need to plan is managing the access. So who should have access to which resource? Like storage engineer should have access to the only storage. Network engineer should have access only to the network. Maybe application developer, they can only have like their own application. So this kind of robust access control you also need to prepare. And also next one is a manage cost and billing. So how much will be the cost, right? So let's say if you are putting everyone free, then doing whatever they want, it's difficult to manage the cost. So how you can control them, right? So but if you limit too much, their innovation is also gone. Like how you can balance between innovation and control. So all those things you have to prepare as well. And this one is a plan for the governance, security, and compliance, right? So just now, as I said, right, storage must be managed by the storage engineer. So you give the access to the developer. Developer may create the storage, maybe new storage. So how you make sure this new storage have access by the storage engineer? So you can automate the policy, use the automation to like Terraform and server to have automatically include in the this policy as well. After that, you also need to have a monitoring and reporting. You need to have a insight what's happening within your own data center on the Azure. The last one is a stay current with Azure. So the cloud, right? So everyday cloud is evolving, right? Changing is very fast, right? So maybe the day you know that technology yesterday will be changed today. So how you keep up to date with that as well, how you plan for that. So there is a 6 critical step you want before you start migration to the cloud. So like as I said, right? So organize as well resource. So there are 2 different type of approach, right? So in the segregation, so you want to create segregation based on the app. Maybe 1 app per segregation, 2 app 2 segregation. Or some customer they create segregation by the department, right? Maybe finance department will be one segregation. Sales department will be one segregation. So after by doing this, right, they know the cost by the department. They can cross check their own cost center. And also some segregation they create by the environment. So environment is something like a production, UAT development. So some people are created based on that. So it's different organizations have a different requirement. So you need to design, right, what kind of segregation model you're going to use. And also same thing for the resource group. So you want to create resource group by app, or you want to create resource group by department, or you want to create resource group by environment. So you have to plan carefully before you start moving to the cloud. So most of the customer they are lacking this one. Before they design the security, they go to the cloud, just quickly deploying the VM there. After 6 months or 1 year later, their Azure data center is very complex, very difficult to manage already. So you have to plan this one as well. And also you have to have a managed access, right? So who should get the owner? Like owner maybe only admin. So who should get the contributor? Who should get the resource specific custom rule? Who is the reader? So reader should have access to separation or only resource group. So all those things you have to prepare. Or all the resource created under where we automate the process using the like infrastructure as a code. So all those things managed access also you need to prepare as well. So the next one is landing zone, right? So just now I said, right? So moving to the cloud is similar to building the new data center, right? So once you build a new data center, you need to prepare network design, data center design, what are the power design, and also what are the red, what kind of, this one will include what kind of server, like Dell server or HP server, or or how many firewall, how many load balancer, all those things you have to prepare. So landing zone, you need to make sure prepare the landing zone. What will be the compute? What will be the network? What will be the storage? What will be the data? And also, so just now, what are the managed group? What are the resource group? Segregation design, and also naming standard, right? Naming standard. So one person create the virtual network. It should be the name standard, like maybe similar like dash VNet, or maybe another person create maybe uh, network in another name, maybe network. So you don't have a standard name already. So how you make sure everyone create a virtual network is follow the naming standard. You have to use the automation script to do the naming standard. So you cannot force people to do this. Some people will still make mistake, right? So you have to use the automation to have a naming standard, and also governance. You have to what are the costs, what kind of policy, like group policy in the on-premise, in the cloud, we have an Azure policy you can deploy, and also monitoring what kind of identity we'll be using in the cloud as well. All those things you have to prepare in the landing zone. So hosting decision, I will talk about this later. I will skip this one. So let me start with the networking decision. So before you move into the cloud, what network decision you are going to use? So let me zoom a bit. Sorry. So let me zoom so you can see. Okay. So you have to use this flow chart actually. So when you require a virtual network, if you need a virtual network, if you are going to the platform as a service workload, you don't need virtual network. So you can just start with this one. If you need virtual network, yes, and you have to create the virtual network in your blueprint, right, for the landing zone. So if you need the on-premise connectivity, and if yes, okay, go to this one. If you need a higher bandwidth, like 1.25 gigabit per second bandwidth, yes, you go for express route. So Azure express route is like direct connection from on-prem to cloud. So if you don't need too much bandwidth, you can go for VPN gateway. If you want to expect outgoing traffic on-premise and the cloud, and in the cloud, you use a full standalone using Azure firewall or third-party firewall like Cisco, Checkpoint, Fortinet on the cloud. So you still need to deploy the firewall on the cloud as well if you want to inspect algorithm. So if you want to inspect algorithm on-premise, you do the full standard to the on-premise. So if you need to connect multiple separation or the virtual network, it's centrally managed service. You can go for hack and spoke technology. Right. So in the later I will explain to you what is hack and spoke. If you have a different network, no need centrally managed service, you can use VNet peering. So VNet peering is to connect two virtual network together. And if you want workloads available to the entrusted, your application may be accessed by the internet. If you need the application internet access, you need to better to put the firewall, like Azure firewall or like Cisco or 40K or maybe Checkpoint, whatever firewall, Palo Alto, you can deploy. And you want to protect the microservice, you need Azure front door service. You want to protect like layer 7 what application firewall, you can deploy app gateway. So if you want to have a geographic load balancing, you can go for traffic manager. And another thing is like, do you need a DNS setting? So you need a custom DNS setting. It's managed by an AD domain controller, and then you have to deploy Azure AD domain service in the cloud. Otherwise, don't need domain controller, you can have a custom IaaS DNS VM. Otherwise, you can leverage Azure DNS. So these are the flow chart before you are moving to the cloud, making a decision on the network. So you have to think carefully. You have to have, if you are partner, you have to discuss with your customer. If you are customer, you have to plan for the network as well. So these are the networking product, right? So if you need network infrastructure to connect everything, you can have Azure Virtual Network. If you need to have an inbound and outbound connection load balancing, you can leverage Azure Load Balancer. So you want to optimize the application server fan application delivery, you can leverage Azure Application Gateway for like platform access service and a VM. For the microservice, you can leverage front door service. So you need to connect on premise and the cloud, you can leverage VPN gateway. If you have a DNS, you can have it Azure DNS. So if you have a so-called like streaming video, live streaming, all those things, then you can leverage content delivery network to have a so-called high bandwidth content to the lower latency. So if you want to have a DDoS protection, you can leverage Azure DDoS protection. So you want to have a traffic load balancer, you can have a traffic manager and front door. So you need to have a own IPVPN, own private one, and you can have a Azure Explorer. So you want to have a monitor and diagnostic for the network scenario level, you can leverage Azure Network Watcher. So you want to have a firewall capabilities, and you can have a Azure Firewall. So if you have a many branches, right, is to connect Azure data center, you can leverage SD1, like Azure Virtual One. So this is a microservice, you can have a front door service. So this is the networking service you can consider doing the design before you are moving to the cloud. So choosing the network architecture. So if you are deploying platform as a service only, and most of the PES, you don't need VNet, virtual network. So you can deploy PES with virtual network or without virtual network. So you have to design on that. And also, you are doing cloud native only. So you don't have any on-premise. You are moving totally 100% to the cloud. And you can deploy IaaS virtual machine. Or another approach is cloud DMZ. So you need to connect on-premise resource to the cloud. You can have a DMZ zone in the cloud as well. And you want to have a hybrid, and you can connect using VPN. So the next one is the head and spoke. Head and spoke is like a head will be hosting all the shared resource. Shared resource can be firewall, load balancer, AD, identity, monitoring, can be any shared service using by the different application. And the spoke will be different kind of application. So you want to go for head and spoke architecture, and you can consider on that. And virtual one, and if you have many different branch office, you can have a virtual one. So let me pause here. I saw some people are typing the question.
Let's continue, and then we can have the sessions.
Okay. All right. Okay. So another best practice to set up networking. Networking. So you have to design the virtual network. So virtual network is a logical isolation in the cloud. So you need to have a hold on. So VNet is an isolation of the cloud, and you can implement multiple VNet within Azure security. You can have a maybe 10 virtual network. You can have only one virtual network also possible. So one VNet is isolated from another VNet. These two VNet are cannot communicate each other. So if you want to communicate these two VNet, you have to do peering, or maybe you have to do the VPN between these two VNet. Yeah, and also you have to plan the IP address. So normally our recommendation is /16, right? So you have to have an address space on your virtual network in the cloud. And VNet address space also shouldn't overlap with the on-premise network. So let's say you are going for like 192.168 subnet 0 subnet on the cloud. So it shouldn't be overlapped with the on-premise. So you have to design the network address as well. So NAD also shouldn't be used. So this is designing the virtual network. So this is a hub and spoke technologies. So I explained already. So hub will be hosting like a firewall or load balancer, all the shared resource used by the different application. Maybe spoke one, maybe hosting one app one. Maybe spoke two, maybe hosting app two. So these two apps cannot communicate each other. So you have a different VNet. So hub and spoke, this if you want to communicate, you have to come from here to here. So hub and spoke is like share service used by these two apps. So you can design for the hub and spoke technology as well. This is highly recommended. So you can have a share resource used by the different virtual network as well. So you have a better security. So there's a designing a subnet. So every virtual network you can have a multiple subnet. So multiple subnet is similar to like VLAN. So they can communicate each other. So you can have like the VLAN for the front end, VLAN for the app, VLAN for the DB. So you have a different CID arrays, right? So they have their own VLAN, and also in most cases use smaller subnet is recommended, right? So these two you can create a different VLAN based on the requirement and use a smaller number possible. And also this make sure to have a DNS server. So DNS server can be used Azure DNS, or even you can also use custom DNS. So let's say if you have a like maybe Active Directory DNS, you can point to the custom DNS as well. So if let's say you have to resort on-premise hostname or maybe other VM hostname, you can use a custom DNS as well. So you have to design a DNS server as well. Another one thing is about the network security. So we call it network security group and another application security group. So make sure you have a protection between the two applications. Like in the picture, you see there's an NSC1, there's another NSC1 and another subnet. Right. So this three VM, maybe this VM cannot communicate here. This VM cannot communicate here. So this one is defined by the network security group and application security group. So you have to create network security group, and this network security group is a 5-tuple information. You can define source port, destination port, and protocol. It's like a firewall between the VM, so-called micro segmentation between the VM. So network security group is totally free. So make sure you have an proper network security policy when you are moving to the cloud. So next one I want to talk about is the availability zone. So availability zone is like so let me give you example. So for the like Southeast Asia, like Singapore data center, Singapore region. So Microsoft have a different type of regions in Singapore region. So you may only see Singapore region, but in the backend we have a 3 data center. Maybe in the north have a 1 data center, in the south have a 1 data center. Maybe another one will be the east. So whenever you deploy the workload, it will choose 3 different data centers. It will deploy anywhere. These 3 are connected via the backbone network. So Microsoft backbone network. So when you choose the availability zone, so let's say you are going to deploy high availability application to virtual machine, right? So you can put it this 2 VM and the availability zone. So what it will make sure is these 2 VM are putting on a 2 different data center. Maybe VMware will be put it here, VMware 2 will be put it here. So this is the way you can also have a HA, you can also have a DR. So if you're using the availability zone, these 2 VM will be put in the 2 data center. So these 2 data center will be connected by the own backbone network. There will be the same latency. So you have to calculate this latency is enough to cover your application. Then you can put it this one as well. So if you put in the availability zone, Microsoft is providing 99.99% SLA. So make sure Microsoft will make sure there's no downtime at all. So site-to-site VPN, if you want to connect on-premise into the cloud, on-prem to the cloud, we recommend to have a Azure VPN gateway. So we recommend to have a 2 VPN gateway so that you have a HA to connect 2 on-premise VPN gateway. This 2 on-prem may be like your VPN box, maybe like Cisco or maybe 40K VPN box or whatever VPN box. You can have an IP set between these 2 VPN. So you have a HA to connect between on-premise to the cloud. So the firewalls, so if let's say your application need to connect by the external, and you need to have a layer 3 and layer 7 firewall, and you can have an Azure firewall, or maybe you can have a third-party firewall like Cisco or Palo Alto to connect like traditional on-premise data center. You need to put the firewall in front of the application. Same thing to the Azure as well. Okay, so after compute decision, network decision, I want to talk about the compute design decision. So, so firstly, you have to make sure once you are moving to the cloud, is it migrate or building a new one? If you are building a new one, if you need a full control, you can go for a virtual machine. If you need to run a high performance computing, HPC workload, like batch processing, you can go for Azure batch. So if you are going for the microservice architecture, right? So if you are not going for the microservice architecture, you can leverage Azure App Service. If you want to go for event-driven workload, like event-driven workload and the process, you can go for serverless. So if you are go for a microservice, but you don't need the full flash orchestration, you can go for Azure Container Instance. We call it ACI. It is Container as a Service. So you can just need to manage our own container. You don't need to manage the worker node and master node. So if you are using .NET and Microsoft Stack, then you can go for Service Fabric. It's for the microservice application. If you are using open source, you can leverage Azure Kubernetes Service, AKS. For the migration, lift and shift, it can be containerized. It cannot be containerized, you can go for as service. It can be containerized, you can choose either ACI, Service Fabric, or maybe container Kubernetes service. So this is a compute design decision. So just now I explained like you can have a different type of offering in the cloud. Either you go for virtual machine, you want to go for virtual machine skill set. Virtual machine skill set is like you can define the golden image. You have to have a golden image of the application. You can start small. So like read application, maybe at the nighttime nobody using, you can reduce to the VM skill set into the 1 VM. In the daytime, maybe 1 million user using, it will automatically scale to the 10 instance. So this kind of VM skill set you can also configure. For the containerized application, and you can go for like Kubernetes service. For the serverless, you can use function, Microsoft-based like .NET framework or .NET Core, right? Microservice, you can go for Service Fabric. They are not containerized application, just a web app or mobile application. You can leverage as well app service. For the cloud scale job scheduling like high performance computing, you can go for Azure Batch. So there are different type of the compute option. So entry level is A series. So entry level meaning like you have a development or maybe testing VM, not production VM, like maybe pre-production VM, UAT virtual machine. You can go for A series. If you are bus stable VM, you can go for B series. Bus stable VM meaning like you have an application, maybe you have 24 hour, only 3 hour is using by the customer. The rest 21 hour is totally idle. So in this kind of approach, you can go for bus stable VM. For the general purpose, like maybe application, production workload, application, database server, not heavily utilized RAM, then you can go for general purpose D series. So if you need compute intensive uh, workload, you can go for the F series. If you have a storage optimized, if you are hosting the analytics, big data, all those things, you can go for F series. So if you are doing like memory optimized, like you are doing like analytical platform, like say database, Oracle, or this, because normally database have need more memory, like SAP HANA, like you can go for memory optimized VM, like M series. The other workload you can go like G series and the E series. So if you are hosting gaming or maybe AutoCAD, VDI, all those things, you can go for graphic intensive. High performance, you can go for A series. We also have a HANA large instance as well. So if you are hosting HANA, you need like maybe a 24 terabyte RAM. So this kind of approach, you can have a large instance VM in the, not VM, it's a dedicated host in the cloud. So you have to design which VM you should go for each workload. So app service is a platform as a service. So you no need to worry about operating system, patching, all those things, and it's also support the hybrid. It can also integrate with the Azure AD. Security and compliance is already applied, and also you want to build in auto scaling like the menu, right? So when the user is reach to the same threshold, it will automatically close, right? All those things you can do in the app service, and it's HA also is cover is auto patching. You don't need to worry about patching as well. Packet and recovery also integrated. You can do the packet in the app service. You can also reduce the operational cost. You don't need to worry about the operating system and the other workload. And you can have a different type of programming language like .NET, Java, PHP, Node.js, Python, whatever language. And, and in one app service, you can have a different deployment slot, a staging slot, development slot, production slot, put it in the one app service. And you can also source integration with GitHub or maybe Bitbucket, Azure DevOps, do the CI/CD. And you can also deploy for the marketplace, our partner application as well. So this is the Azure app service. So the next one is a storage design, right? So in the storage, we have a different type of storage, right? For the premium disk is premium SSD. So it's provide the higher IOP, higher IOPS and throughput. So when you do the design, right, the storage, you need to make sure your IOPS and throughput requirement. So let's say I have my customer, I want to build application, maybe IOPS, I need 300 IOPS and 50 megabyte per second bandwidth. So in this kind of this one, I may go for B30. So B30 I may go for B30. So B30 premium disk provide this IOPS requirement. So I need more IOPS, I can also strike. Maybe I strike into 2 into B30. So it provides double IOPS and a double throughput. So another disk storage is standard SSD, also SSD as well, but this one is more cheaper, lower cost. But this one provide lower IOPS and a throughput. So choose based on your requirement. Another one is an extra SSD. So extra SSD is a flexible IOPS and a throughput. So maybe you may need like maybe 16 GB storage, but your IOPS maybe 1000 IOPS. If you go for premium disk, you have to combine everything. And you may have more than 16 GB. But in the extra disk, you can choose based on your requirement. What is the storage size? What is the IOPS? What is the throughput? And you pay only for what you use. This is so-called extra disk. Another disk is Azure file. So if you want to have a file share and also SMB sharing and mounting a NFS for long, and you can go for Azure file. So for the data lake, it's used for the analytics, right? If you have a unstructured data coming from everywhere, you want to put it in a staging and storage, and you can use data lake storage. So Azure page block is to store like some application, some file, right? You don't need VM to store. Like let's say I want to build the streaming service. I want to host a video, and you can host it in the page block as well. So it's lower cost of storage. Okay, that's one. Let me skip. So there's a best practice. Always use SSD disk for the production workload because VM with the solid state disk provide 99.9 SLA. VM with the solid state disk provide 99.9 SLA. So only use mini disk. So because mini disk, Microsoft is maintaining the limitation. And RAID is not required. RAID 0, RAID 1 is not required. So some customer, they are going for 2 different disks.
Sorry, please go on. Yeah.
Okay. So another one is a RAID, right? So you no need RAID actually, RAID 1 or RAID. Because some customer did one hard disk die, I need another hard disk. Actually, RAID is not necessary because Microsoft is maintaining for this. RAID you may use for the storage side. So you may use RAID 0 instead of RAID 1. So RAID 1 is not required. So let's say you need more storage. Let's say B30 disk provide maybe a 100 GB storage. If you need 200 GB, you combine RAID 0 2 into PP30, you can have a 200 GB. So you just use RAID 0 for the storage side and the performance. Right. So this is a storage design decision. If you want to migrate on-premise Windows 5 server, go for Azure 5. So if you want to have a synchronization between on-premise and a cloud, right? So you want to have a disaster recovery of on-premise file server, you can use Azure File Sync. So it will automatically sync on-premise file server and the cloud Azure file. So this Azure file sync will be sync Azure file and the on-premise data center. So if you want to have store like video file, image file, others accessory file, you can have a block storage. Block storage, you have a core storage and a core storage and also archive storage. For the core and archive, you may store your backup file. So backup file normally have most of the time people are not accessing the backup file. They only access when they need, right? So you can save cost using the core and archive storage. For the data box app, so if you want to transfer terabyte or petabyte data from on-prem to cloud, you can use data box app. So Microsoft is leasing the data box into your on-premise data center. You copy this into the within local network, and you can transfer back to the Azure, so we can put it back into your security. So another data box gateway is like a data ingestion between on-premise and the cloud. So whenever you create a new data in on-premise, it will go to the gateway, upload to the cloud. So this is hybrid storage. So there are different type of approach. You upload a large amount of data to Azure. So you can have a disk input. So if you have less than 10 terabyte, this is customer supply disk, and you just copy the data to this disk, ship to the Microsoft, and Microsoft will copy into your security. Another one is a disk renter, also less than 10 terabyte. This is Azure lease service. Microsoft provide this disk. Then after that, you move into you move the data into the disk. Microsoft will put it into the cloud. So another one is data box. Data box support up to 100 terabyte. So the same thing is leasing Microsoft, and you can just order from the Azure. So Microsoft will shift this data box to you. You just copy data, send it back to Azure data center. So another one is a store simple. Store simple is a hybrid storage. So whenever you write in the on-premise like vSphere or Hyper-V, it will automatically replicate that to the cloud. So this is a hybrid approach. So the next one is the data design decision. So let me zoom in. So start from here. You need to control database software and host OS. You can go for IaaS VM deployment, put it like Azure SQL Server or Oracle Server or Postgres or MySQL. So if you don't want to control OS, then you can go here. If your database is relational database, then you can go here. So relational database, SQL Server. If you need the application compatible with application is compatible with Azure SQL database, you can go for Azure SQL database platform as a service. If your application is not compatible with Azure SQL database, you can install SQL Server on Azure virtual machine. So if relational database is not SQL Server, MySQL Server, then you can go for Azure database for MySQL. This platform as a service. It's Postgres, you can go for Azure database for Postgres. It's MariaDB, you can go for Azure database for MariaDB. These are not database, not the relational database like NoSQL database, like document database. And if you need high performance caching, you can go for Redis cache. Otherwise, you can go for Azure Cosmo DB. So Cosmo DB, you can have a MongoDB. Right? It's similar to AWS DynamoDB. Right? So you can have a NoSQL database can store in the Cosmo DB. So your database document and graph, you can go for Cosmo DB. If you need column family, you can have a HP and HD inside. It's based on the Hadoop. Right? So if you have a data analytics, is it unstructured data? Then you can go for data lakes. If it's structured data, you can go for SQL data warehouse. If you want to search the data, you can use the Azure search. If you need a real-time data insight, you can have an Azure time series insights. So this is a data decision before you are moving to the cloud for your data. So I already explained, it's a Cosmos DB is a globally distributed multi-model database support for NoSQL. Azure SQL database is a platform as a service for the SQL Server. Azure SQL database on MySQL, Azure database for Postgres, Azure database for MariaDB. Those are the open source database platform as a service in the cloud. You can also SQL Server on a virtual machine. For the data warehouse, you can use SQL Data Warehouse. For the unstructured data, you want to store the staging data, you can use Data Lake. If you want to do the caching, you can use Azure Cache for Redis. For the hybrid, if you have an on-prem AD and a cloud AD, you can have a hybrid scenario using the Azure AD Connect. So if you have an on-premise infrastructure, also cloud Azure, you want to manage security, you can use Azure App. Azure App Security Center, ASC Azure Security Center, and also Sentinel to monitor your on-premise and the cloud. So if you want to do a hybrid for the data, you can have Azure Data Service and Secure Server Hybrid. If you want a similar Azure service in the on-premise, you can deploy Azure Stack. You can do the hybrid approach. So let me go the migration journey. So this one, So normally before you start migration, you have to do the assess, migrate, and optimize. I already explained too many times. So assess, to do the making an assess, you can have a different type of tools you can leverage. Right? So this tool will provide better insight what is the plan. So to do this one, you can have let me go to the next. So you can have a different kind of tools. For making an assessment, you can use the Azure Migrate. For the database, you can use the Database Migration Assistant. For the SQL Server, you can use SQL Server Migration Assistant to make the assessment. So for the migrate, you can also still use Azure Migrate to automate the migration. For the database, you can use Azure Database Migration Service. For the data, you can use Azure Database. For the optimization, you can use Azure Cost Management. And for the security and management, you can use Security Center, Backup, Monitor, all those things. So these are the Microsoft tools. We also have a partner tools like Movira, Cloud Maze, Cloud Atlas, Unified Cloud, Titan, Zato. So you can leverage based on your need. So Migrate is a Microsoft free tools. You can have a migration assessment of VMware, Hyper-V, and even a physical server. Right? So it will also provide the migration from VMware, Hyper-V as well. So you can also integrate with Azure with third parties. So CloudMaze, Device42, Unified Cloud, like Carbonizer. There are different type of ISV offering you can leverage. So normally Azure Migrate, what they will do is like, let's say for example, this is a vCenter server, ESXi server, is install the virtual machine in the vCenter. So it collect the raw metadata, put it into the Azure Migrate service. So it will provide you the how much will be the cost in the cloud. What kind of VM type you should use in the cloud? What kind of migration approach you should go? You should go for rehost, or you should go for refactor, or you should go for re-architect. It will recommend you what you should do. And it will also show you the dependency. If you move the VM, you also need to move another VM. Also, it will provide you the idea to make the assessment of understand the existing infrastructure. So this is a sample project plan. So normally in the preparation before you move migration, it normally take about 15 days. So you need to understand your policy, what is the inventory, what is the selection criteria, network design, identity design, story planning, and the assessment normally take 20 to 50 days based on the site. So the migration strategy, migration method, IDIL method, data Zanakat over planning, and also for the migration can be take 30 to 60 days. So migration, custom test, follow optimization, data Zanakat over. So this is a normal project can be up to like maybe 4 to 6 months minimum. So this is a sample project plan, so you can also leverage in your own data center as well. So I want to show you the suggested practice. So you go to this hands-on lab link, and you can have a guide. There's a 3 PDF you can download. So you can play around with the Azure Migrate, making an assessment of existing infrastructure, step migrating to the workload to the Azure, and also step playing around. And also you can have a cloud adoption framework, aka the MSCAF. You have all those cloud adoption framework as well. You can also subscribe to the MS LAN. Right, this MS LAN, you can go to MS LAN. There's a training you can attend free to understand the cloud adoption framework. If you need a virtual instructor-led training, you need someone to guide you the training. You can go to the aka.ms/enablevilt. Then you look for the cloud adoption framework. So it will guide you the how to migrate to the cloud. So my session is finished. So do you have any question right now?
Thank you, Ted, for a very good session. I hope everyone enjoyed, and also we learned a lot.
Yeah.
Thanks for minimizing the time and setting all the expectations. So, any questions? We have a couple of them in the chat, and you can open this. This is some of the questions we have.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I will share the slide over I will share the slide to the Nashib. So Nashib will share to the audience, right?
Exactly.
So so customer one more security with package level, right? So usually we have a like network watcher. Network watcher can do the package level monitoring. Let's say it depends on the customer requirement. How deep details they want to have a security with the package level monitoring. So another watcher have a own limitation. So it cannot meet the customer requirement. You can always use the third party, like third party monitoring, like Sandbase or all those things. And so you want to know more about Azure one. So actually I will share the resource later, Azure SD1 and Virtual one. So Nashir will be shared to you.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So these are the questions we have in the group chat. So if anyone has questions, you can unmute your mic and ask the question. If anyone have any questions, right? We will share the slides. Hoping to share the video as well as the SD1 and virtual one. So Rezwan Bhai, we will share it to you. If anyone has any question, Noel Bhai. Right. I guess if no one has any question, then we can conclude this session. And right. So just a final call if anyone has a questions, right? Awesome. I guess thanks, Ted. So basically the more agendas of this webinar was to utilize this lockdown time to learn, as well as we Cloud Creative as a partner with Microsoft, and we see potential in Bangladesh. We got a couple of customers, and this webinar, I hope this can help to the people who is willing to work on Azure, who have workloads on Azure, or who are thinking to migrate to Azure or not. And these presentations and the webinars from Thet will definitely give you some guidelines and everything. So if you guys have, if you don't have any questions right now, but you have my email address or the email I sent you, info@cloudcreative.tech, feel free to put all your questions, suggestions. Like if you want to have the second webinar soon, what will be the topic you want to cover? Let me know, and we will fit that accordingly. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Ted, for joining all the way from Myanmar, and we had a great sessions and learning a lot. So I hope you enjoyed the lockdown, and as well as stay safe. And Ted, if you have any closing talk to close this webinar.
Yeah. Thank you, Nashir, for arranging. So I hope I can join more session later and to share my knowledge, just to send on my knowledge sharing to you, the community. So I hope this session will be helpful. If it give you the better idea of migration some workload to the Azure. So you can also reach out to me anytime. So my email address is uh, uh, here. My email address is thaung@microsoft.com. So you can always reach out to me whatever you need, any question, any support. And we can also talk to the Nashir, and Nashir and we can support to you in the better way. So thank you everyone. So hope everyone safe and stay home. So I hope you all have a cool week ahead.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All right. All
And
right. Thanks a lot.
yeah, and we'll see you guys somewhere very soon for the next
Yeah.
webinar. Thanks a lot.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Stay safe.